Yo, welcome into the Fantasy BS DFS podcast. A little bit of 5 minutes. We're going to let Cassidy run this thing today. Today is September 18th. This is his gig. I've never met anyone that loves DFS more than Mr. Cassidy Hill over here. So, Cassidy, we don't even need to talk about how you're doing. Don't care. Jump into DFS. Let's hear it. What are you doing today? What are you going to do this week? First question I have for you is who's going to win this week's podium? Who you got?
I am, of course. I'm due.
You're due? When was the last time you got it?
Well, I haven't podiumed yet this year, or at least not in our contest, I haven't.
You didn't go on like a bad run last year where you had like 5 or 6 just really bad ones to end the year and then you started like crap, or is it just a kind of a 2-week gig for you here?
I did have the most podium finishes last year in our Corona Couch Coaches Cash League, which is kind of why I had the idea to have a contest, focused on that this year for you guys. But so far, you all are mopping the floor with me, so good job.
Well, unfortunately, we might make it harder because we are doing a podcast, which means people are going to actually know what we're thinking. We can either throw them off, we can give them real advice. I say we give them real advice. Smitty, do you agree? Are we giving people real advice here, even though it might beat us in our contests?
Dude, yes. Yes, I do.
All right. Well, we got it. Cassidy, let it rip. Who is your start of the week? Let's say, who are you going with here? If you're looking at your lineup, number one person right now, who are you putting in there first?
Yeah, I almost never do this. I almost always punt tight end, but this week I can't get off of Kelce. He's $7,200. He's facing the Bears. Mahomes needs him. He's gonna use him. It's a full PPR site. He's gonna cash. He's gonna 3x his salary. He needs 20 points to do it. I'm plugging Kelce in this week.
Plugging Kelce in. So let's say you did punt tight end. Who would you look at if you were punting?
This is bad audio. I have not looked at my prices.
Okay, well, I'll get back to you on that question. Smitty, who are you starting this week?
You know what? I really do want to ask you guys this because I looked at Josh Kelly. Listen, I have a thing for playing running backs against Vikings defense. So, and honest to God, this sounds crazy, but I don't think Austin Eckler's coming back. So I think this is the Josh Kelly bounce back, and he's at 54, which is 400 more than last week, which you admit that even if we play Josh Kelly, it wasn't the worst move. I feel a lot better about his matchup. How do you feel about him as a DFS play this week? At 5,400.
Josh Kelly?
And that's if we assume Austin Eckler is not playing.
I'm going to probably look elsewhere. You burned me once. I can't do it the second week. I mean, there's a reason that I have not had Amari Cooper on any fantasy football team in like 4 years. You burned me that bad. I'm out. I don't know if that's a start I would look at, but I will tell you, I'm just kind of going down here, and something is just hollering a Chris Olave, Derek Carr stack. And if anyone has listened to my other podcast that we've just done, I hate Derek Carr, but this week, come on, he's got to have a game. He's going to click with the offense. So I'm going to put that stack in my lineup. Cassidy, who are you stacking?
DFS is a great place to start Derek Carr because if it doesn't pan out, you can just start over and start fresh next week. It doesn't haunt you all season long. Hey, I'm going to give you guys a couple nice little tidbits here. One is DraftKings, they put out their pricing before Monday Night Football. And so you can always take advantage of things that happen in Monday night. Their pricing is not going to reflect that. So Jerome Ford is $4,900. And so if they don't go out and sign anyone else, he's going to be a popular play, but he could really pay off. So just kind of pay attention to that. And if you guys are looking to punt tight end, you don't want to pay up for Kelce like I talked about, I've got a very, very, very strong play for you. Taysom Hill is $3,300. That's almost the minimum. Think about what's going on in New Orleans. Jamal Williams, hamstring injury. Kendry Miller, coming off of a hamstring injury. Alvin Kamara, still suspended. Taysom's going to get those carries. $3,300. Can't go wrong. Plug him in.
I agree with that. You just brought it up on Jerome Ford, brother. That's some good DFS. I mean, I'm looking at this, and how do you not make that a start? Because unless they bring in Kareem Hunt, you can't pick up that offense, but you can't tell me Kareem Hunt's even in football shape right now. I mean, there's a difference between working out and playing football.
No, Ford's the dude, and I kind of talked about this a little bit on my on our last podcast, but those cheap plays, if they don't pan out, the cheap popular plays, if they don't pan out, they don't hurt you because everybody did it. It didn't cost you much money. It's how you spend the rest of that money that matters.
So that's what my question is, because looking at this too, there's probably going to be a lot of Jerome Ford I'm playing against. So I got to think of a contrarian side of it. So Smitty, what about you? I mean, you asked about Joshua Kelly here, but let's just take Jerome Ford out of it because you think the rest of the league is going to play him. Where do you go after that to find maybe a cheap running back? And I'll give you my take on this one is I am probably down here looking at a Tyler Algier. Possibly. I mean, somewhere in there, just give me some touches. I mean, Tyler Algier's 5,100. So what's your thought?
I love the Jerome Ford pick. I love him significantly more than my Kelly play. Algier, who's the matchup for Algier?
Algier's going against Detroit. Detroit's going to put some points on him.
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, give me Jerome Ford. You know what? Honestly, I'm not even afraid to, let's just be honest. CMC's him. I'm not afraid to pay up for a running back this week. I don't know what his exact. Well, what is CMC's price?
CMC's price right now is. Why can't I find him?
So he's not going to be on the main. He's not going to be on the main slate. He will be on the full slate.
Right, because of the Thursday night. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay.
He's going to be expensive, but you know what? He almost always pays off in his salary. He just doesn't You don't have a lot of space to make other moves on your roster when you plug him in.
Okay. Well,
but you're never sad when you do.
Yeah, that's it. That's interesting. I'm looking down here. So you asked Joshua Kelly. Right in line here is Isaiah Pacheco, Javonte Williams. We're talking right about the same price. Gus Edwards down. By the way, Gus Edwards looked great last week. We probably forgot to talk about that.
Well, we did, but you know what? The underlying peripherals on him were not good. He got that touchdown, and that's great. But Justice Hill ran more routes, he had more targets, and he had more snaps. And it didn't seem to matter whether they're up or down in the game. It was Justice Hill. And I think that, honestly, he's probably the guy to own in that backfield.
That's going to be interesting to me. You guys going down to like an Ezekiel Elliott here at 5,200? Oh, no, that's against the Jets. That's horrible. Yeah, I mean, you got to pay up for a running back this week. That's basically what I'm looking at here. So if we look at from just a wide receiver standpoint, where are you going to target a wide receiver? Are you paying up and trying to get a few studs? You looking at someone like Olave at 7,000? You looking at a Keenan Allen at 7,600? Are you paying up for a 9,300 with Justin Jefferson? Cassie, what are you doing on your wide receivers?
I'll tell you what I like to do here. In a full PPR site like DraftKings is, I want guaranteed production. So I'm usually going to plug in a couple bona fide studs, guys I know are going to put up points in my roster. And then I like to take at least one just Hail Mary punt play and see if that can be the difference maker on your roster. And this week, you have Tank Dell at $3,600. They haven't responded to him yet. You can take him, you can plug him in. He's your cheap punt play, and he can break one off and win your week.
Yes, I love it.
Great play. Cassie, you're so much better at this than me. This is my third week playing. You're so much better. See, I'm looking at a guy I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put Josh Reynolds in my lineup probably this week. I'm just like, you know what? Dude, that looked great. By the way, we'll talk eventually, but J-Mo might not have a role in this offense. But Reynolds looked pretty good. So I'm looking at someone like him or Raheem Shaheed. Hopefully a big play, something similar to you're talking about. Who's your wild card, Smitty? Who is your play that's your wild card? Go win you a week, 4,200 to 5,000.
Okay, let me look real quick.
Yeah, take a look.
Yeah, let's take a look. Wild card 42. Okay.
And Smitty, while you're looking at that, get your thoughts together. Cassie, do you have anything you want to say to the Slack channel? Because we're posting this. This is your DFS. This is your Slack channel. So anything you want to say to our millions of viewers out there that are listening to you?
No, this is for the Slack channel. So I just want to give a shout out to the people that did podium this week. We have Adrian and Hillary and Tim in that order sitting on the podium. So those are the guys to beat. And then also Tony in our DFS Slack channel, he came out and said hey, I'm just getting into this. I know Brian's just getting into this. Give me some tips. And, obviously, hey, I'm just another guy. So far, you guys are mopping the floor with me. But I do pay a lot of attention. I like learning about things. And one strategy that I think you guys can tune into that's going to treat you right when you play Cash GFS with us in our Sickos Cash Club is a little tip that I like to call bring back the stack. Okay? You're going to bring back the stack. And what that means, what I'm trying to tell you to do is after you plug in your quarterback, find a pass catcher for him that you think is going to go off and do well, and then look at that matchup. Who's on the other side of that ball that you think is going to respond? You know, what you're trying to do here is build a roster and assume that you're right about that roster. And so you're looking for high-scoring matchups, get a quarterback and a pass catcher in the high-scoring matchup, look on the other side of the ball. If this game is a shootout like you hope it is, who's going to be responding on the other side? Put them onto your roster as well.
That's smart. So what's the highest over/under? What's the highest scoring projection of the week?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let's find out. Smitty, who's your play that you found out?
You know what? I don't know if this is going to be sticky, but I don't even know if I'll 100% do this. But Sky Moore, let's see if that's sticky.
Oh, it would have paid off this week.
Would have paid off this week. Let's see if it's sticky. Let's see.
I told both of you guys last week, pay attention to Sky Moore. I want to see what that looks like with Travis Kelce in there. I'm starting to become a believer.
Yeah, me too.
You know he's got a goose egg this week, and I'm going to be like, never again. I will never play him again.
Man, boy, do I have the matchup for you guys. This week, it's kind of like, so far, it's kind of looking a lot like last week. There's a lot of low-scoring games, right? That's gross. But we have the Vikings and the Chargers going up against each other. Two high-flying offenses with, you know, pretty poor defensive plays so far. I can see a lot of points going up in that game.
Are you trying to target which offense are you trying to target more of? That would be my question. Are you looking for the Kirk Cousins, Addison type stack, or are you looking more of a Keenan Allen and Herbert stack?
Man, I don't think you're going to go wrong either way. Now, this game is very close. It's almost a pick 'em. Usually what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out the team that's favored. So if there was a clear favorite, I'd be looking for pass catchers on the underdog, assuming they're going to be throwing the ball to try and catch up, and maybe bring it back with a running back on the favored team side. This one, I don't think you're going to go wrong. I'm really, really, really liking, Cousins with either Jefferson and Addison, and trying to bring it back with like a high volatility play like Mike Williams, or maybe even Keenan. And I haven't looked at the pricing there yet, but that kind of strategy in general is going to treat you right.
So, last question I'll ask you guys, and it's kind of what Tony asked you for someone that's new into this. Does garbage time matter more for DFS, or does it matter for regular fantasy football more? Because we always are trying to target garbage time from a reception standpoint, but does it matter more for DFS? Anyone can answer.
I'll just jump in. I don't have a definitive answer for that. I could research that a little bit, and we could talk about it more next week. My intuition is that it's not. Usually for DFS, what matters are these high-flying games that are, close down to the wire, lots of points being scored. When you luck out and you plug players in those games, that's when you win your week.
Okay. Any last minute advice here submitted before we end this? We're about 13 minutes.
No, I'm just excited for the week. Excited for the slate.
Perfect. As a rookie in this game, my advice as we end this is please, for the love of God, if you want to start an Atlanta Falcon, make sure it's a running back. Cheers to you Sicko Slack channel. We'll catch you next week.